Celebrity Cruises.
It's the Great Greco Upgrade event going on now at Greco Kia. Upgrade to new 2018 Fortes, Sportages, Sorrentos, and Optimus. And get 0% APR for 75 months plus no payments for 90 days at Greco Kia.
We'll save you thousands. We guarantee it.
How do you show up? Do you just bring it? Or do you bring it all?
Lucas, we gotta go.
Third row like a pro. Current eligible lessees can get this low-mileage lease on this 2018 GMC Acadia SLE1 for around $299 per month for 36 months. We are professional-grade GMC.
Designed to power every adventure. Designed to command any road. This is the high-performing Acura RDX. Designed for South Florida.
Visit your Southeast Florida Acura dealer for attractive offers on the RDX.
We believe when you're treated right, you feel welcome to be yourself. So feel free to get swept away. At Isle Casino, feel free to feel free.
Fall in love with winning during the $75,000 Cupid's Cash Giveaway. Be one of 138 winners each Saturday, February 10th and 24th, to take home a share of $75,000 in cash and fan play. Only at Isle Casino Pompano Park.
There are two types of people in the world. Those who fear the future and those who embrace it. The future is for the unafraid.
All because of you.
Don't miss the Great Greco Upgrade event at Greco Chevrolet. Upgrade to a new Cruise, $99 a month. Equinox, $139 a month. Malibu's $159 a month. All with zero down at Greco Chevrolet.
We'll save you thousands. We guarantee it.
Now to new information on the school shooting in Broward County. Officials are confirming the suspect's Instagram page that has since been deleted shows 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz with a variety of gun and violence-related postings.
On that Instagram page, Cruz posted a photo of a shotgun. In another photo, he is shown holding a pistol, which appears to be some type of BB gun. And in other photos, he's covering his face with a handkerchief while holding long knives.
That is all for the first half hour of a special extended edition of the WPBF 25 News at 11.
We have much more on this deadly school shooting in Parkland that killed 17 people. We'll be right back.
You're an amazing machine, endowed with incredibly sensitive touch, precise 360-degree hearing, and lightning-fast reflexes. Abilities enhanced inside another amazing machine, the Lexus ES. With handcrafted refinement and standard technology like Lexus Safety System Plus. The Lexus ES and ES Hybrid.
Lease the 2018 ES 350 for $339 a month for 36 months.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
It's time for the ultimate Sleep Number event on the only bed that adjusts on both sides to your ideal comfort, your Sleep Number setting. Does your bed do that? Right now, save 50% on the ultimate limited edition bed. Ends soon. Visit sleepnumber.com for a store near you.
Have a great day.
You ready, babe?
Yep.
How do you become the most trusted brand of SUVs?
We've got room.
You make it for those who are running a bit late, run into a little trouble, or might just be running low.
Alexa, tell Starbucks to start my usual order.
That's Ford, and that's how you become the most trusted brand of SUVs. Get the 2018 Escape for just $209 a month for 36 months with $27.69 cash due at signing, only at your local Ford dealers.
Hi. I'm attorney Aaron Fewer from Rubenstein Law, and this is Rubenstein's Rules for Personal Injury. Rule number 6, only settle when it's the right decision. We try cases all the time, but the truth is, most cases settle. With our lawyers on your side, the insurance company knows if they don't make a fair offer, we will see them in court. Our experience will assist you in deciding whether to accept an offer or go to trial, and our advice will help you make the right decision.
For more of these rules, go to rubensteinlaw.com.
Outside the Roosevelt, in the shadows of Washington Peak, at the Polk Trailhead, or following the Madison River. Flex your freedom the way all of our great presidents intended at the Jeep President's Day event. Hurry in for great deals. Well-qualified current lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2018 Jeep Cherokee for $199 a month.
Thousands of award-winning Honda SUVs are on sale from $189 a month during the Honda President's Day sales event. You've got to see these SUVs. Get a surprisingly spacious 2018 HR-V, $189 a month, or step up to Pilot for $289 a month with available seating for 8. Plus, we have Motor Trend's SUV of the Year, the 2018 CR-V, and Ridgeline, a car and driver's 10 best. All on sale for up to $38.05 less than the competition at your local Honda dealer.
Oh my God! The SWAT team came, we ran, and we just ran.
Terrifying, horrific. I'm just glad that she's safe.
I'm telling everybody there's a shooting, like, let's go.
Horrific, homicidal, detestable act.
We were just, like, praying and crying.
You're watching an extended version of WPBF 25 News at 11. Tragedy and chaos at a South Florida high school. A gunman opens fire just as students were getting ready to leave for the day, killing 17 people, including a football coach. Good evening. I'm Felicia Rodriguez.
And I'm Tiffany Kenny. Thank you for joining us tonight. The gunman is in custody. Investigators say 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, a former student who had been expelled, pulled a fire alarm at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. Just moments later, he started firing those fatal gunshots as students and staff rushed into the hallways outside of the classrooms to evacuate the school. Students then ran for cover, hiding in classrooms, even closets. The school immediately went into lockdown as investigators searched for the gunman.
Deputies arrested Nicholas Cruz a short time later. We have live team coverage tonight. We begin with our co-anchor Todd McDermott live for us in Parkland. Todd?
Felicia, Tiffany, this is Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School behind me tonight. About 100 yards to my right through the trees sits a couple of Broward County Sheriff's deputies guarding the entrance. There is crime scene tape in front of the entrance to this school. An unthinkable crime, but maybe a well-thought-out crime. Think about that. They say that this gunman pulled the fire alarm, beating any lockdown that could have been caused, getting many students either in the hallway or outside of the school as he opened fire. The whole attack taking just 5 minutes. They say that's how long it took 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, who was expelled from this very school, to use an AR-15 assault-style rifle to start shooting up people as they ran for their lives, trying to protect themselves, shattering all sense of security and safety, not only for 17 families who lost loved ones today, but for the thousands and thousands of families with a connection to this Parkland, Florida high school in Broward County. This started about 2:30 this afternoon. Sounding of that fire alarm, investigators say Cruz pulled it himself. There are reports he was wearing a gas mask, may have had smoke grenades with him to create more chaos. He had the rifle. He started firing as soon as students started pouring out of the classrooms into the hallway. It was also dismissal time. There was mass confusion and mass casualties. He had many people that he could fire on. There were people he could fire on in classrooms as well. Not all the doors were closed in time. In all, a dozen people died inside the school. 2 were shot just outside the school. 1 died in the street. 2 more died in Broward hospitals. Broward County Sheriff's Office responded to reports of shots fired at Stoneman Douglas immediately. The shooting was happening, again, as I said, as students were getting ready to leave for the day. Cruz managed to slip away, perhaps part of his plan. He must have got rid of the gun, but he walked out with the students that he used to go to this school with. They never saw him. He casually slipped out. But just after 4 o'clock, the Broward County Sheriff's Office tweeted that 2 deputies had captured their suspect without incident. One actually jumping on top of the prone suspect after another had told him to get down on the ground. About 6:15, the Broward Sheriff confirmed that 17 people had died, including students and adults. It is a mix of students and adults here. You heard a moment ago a coach. About a half hour later, trauma doctors with Broward Health North announced the local hospitals had received a total of 17 patients with wounds. One of those, the suspect himself, was taken to Broward Health North, and after some kind of treatment, he was taken to jail in a hospital gown. A short time later, tonight, Governor Rick Scott arrived in Broward to meet with law enforcement. He called this mass shooting, quote, pure evil.
I can't imagine what the families that are sitting there wondering if they've lost a family member. They don't know yet. Those that do know they've lost a family member, I just can't imagine how their lives have been changed. Like all of us, we'll be praying for each of those. Everybody in the hospital, I pray for their full recovery. All the individuals that unfortunately had to go through this experience, I know that there's going to be grief counselors, and I'm sure it's going to be very, very difficult as they think through what happened.
And you'll hear many parents ask, what will they do to protect the children in this school and others now in the state of Florida? Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the state will pay the funeral expenses for those who were killed today. Governor Scott also ordered flags to be flown at half staff. There will be grief counselors at all Broward County schools. There are 2 middle schools very close by here. They were on lockdown today as well. I did talk to a middle schooler who said at first, even his teacher said, it couldn't actually be a code red. It was a code red, an active shooter on the campus next door. Now, besides that, here's what we know about the 19-year-old gunman himself. Investigators say Cruz was expelled for having shell casings in his backpack, as well as getting into a fight with a student. The New York Times actually reports that another student said that he talked last year about shooting up this school. Cruz would also apparently talk about shooting rats with BB guns. Cruz's cousin says the 19-year-old had recently lost his adoptive mother. She died of the flu last November. His adopted father died 13 years ago of a heart attack. Cruz was just 6 years old at the time. And tonight we're seeing the emotional outpourings. You have to see this video. You can imagine the worry, the concern, the fear for parents who couldn't reach their children. The students were taken to a nearby Marriott. Parents were told to go there to meet their children. And Ted White has that part of this emotional story.
The chaos on campus, the confusion.
What happened was we stepped outside, like 4 students stepped outside. We heard 3 gunshots and we all ran inside.
And I'm telling everybody there's a shooting, like let's go. So I ran. My teacher's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm just going out the gate.
Minutes after the mass shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, parents rushed to this intersection near the campus. Trying to reach their children, trying to remain calm, trying to make sure their loved ones were out of harm's way. The wait to hear any news, tense, agonizingly long.
My daughter was the closest to the incident, and she texted me the second it happened, and I've been out here since. And there was a period of time where she could not text. They told them to silence their phones, no texting, because the shooter was still at large. And that 20 minutes to half an hour was just death.
Then came the reunions between parents and their children. It would be sporadic for hours.
We saw so many police with their guns out, and they were helping kids out that were bloody from head to toe.
So I just saw a lot of bloody people, and I'm just glad that I got out in time.
Terrifying, horrific. I'm just glad that she's safe. You hear these things, you see these things all the time, but you never think it'll be so close to home.
This parent says she's had enough.
What is it going to take to make a change in this country? If they didn't do it for the 4- and 5-year-olds, and they're not doing it for our 14- and 15-year-olds, who are they going to make this change for?
Help came in many forms today. Paramedics, law enforcement, you name it. Many of them do not work together every day, but they did during this tragedy. In Parkland, Ted White, Wpbf 25 News.
Our thanks to Ted. And as I stood about a half a mile from here across the street from the school and stood with parents waiting to get to their children, there was a sense of resignation and fear, but also a hope that there could be something done. At the same time, there was so much shock. Voices were hushed, and many really didn't know what to say. They just wanted to hold their babies in their arms again. Now, we have breaking news tonight. I want to go back to Lantana, where Jimmy Johnson is. This is an operation we didn't know much about the last half hour, but Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputies are aiding Broward detectives in some type of operation in Lantana. Jimmy, do you have more information? What can you tell us about what's going on?
Well, Todd, law enforcement, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, still remaining pretty tight-lipped about what's taking place right behind me here at the Lantana Cascade Mobile Home Park. Now, within the last hour and a half, PBS, so Mobile Command Unit, did show up here in this community. Now, inside, at least a dozen marked and unmarked units are lined up around a pond in the community. Now, investigators are questioning a man and a woman with a child. Also, a detective could be seen searching a vehicle. Now, while on the property, law enforcement did ask me to identify myself, in which I did, and then they asked me to leave the property. Now, I put in several calls to a spokesperson with the sheriff's office to see if the scene is related to the deadly shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, but have not heard back at this hour. However, I should mention there are several news crews here locally and also from Miami that are here on the scene, also trying to piece together what is taking place right behind me here at this mobile home park. As soon as we get more information, of course, we're going to continue to follow this story. We'll bring that information to you. Back to you, Todd.
All right, Jimmy, thank you very much. Now, I mentioned that initially police actually took Cruz to Broward North. We don't know what he was treated for, but he was quickly taken away. Our Ari Height was down here immediately. He was at the hospital, saw Cruz taken away. The governor was there as well as 8 patients being treated there tonight. Ari?
And Todd, right now, 4 sheriff's deputies are still here. 4 sheriff deputies, cruisers are still here. And inside the hospital, 6 patients from this shooting today are still here. We're told 3 are in stable condition, 3 are in critical condition. And like you mentioned, this is also where the alleged shooter was treated today. A large police escort followed Nicholas Cruz as he was brought to Broward Health North after his arrest. It's the same hospital that was already treating 8 victims from the school shooting.
Of the 8 patients that we had, not including the suspect, 2 mortalities, 3 in critical condition, 3 stable.
The 9th patient was Nicholas Cruz. Doctors declined to say why he came to the hospital. The sheriff, though, says it was nothing major. In fact, when Cruz was first arrested, he was placed in the back of a police cruiser. But shortly after, he was taken out, put on a stretcher, and loaded into an ambulance. Doctors say they treated him, never once thinking about what he's accused of doing.
Every patient that comes in gets treated as a patient, and we take care of them medically, and that's what we do.
Doctors say, like law enforcement, they train for this type of situation. Even with that many shooting victims, they say there was no chaos here. They described it as, quote, calm, collected care.
Fortunately for everybody, we were located very close to the high school where this shooting happened. So fortunately for everybody, they brought these patients to our hospital, and we were able to do a great job to do the right thing.
After about an hour inside, Nicholas Cruz left the ER in a wheelchair. He did not go to an ambulance, though. He was placed in the back of a police cruiser and taken away. Around 9:30, Governor Rick Scott stopped by the hospital to talk to staff here and to talk to the families of the victims.
They're worried about, others that, because we don't know the names, have not been released, who's been lost, and so, they're worried about that.
And Governor Scott says before he left tonight, he made sure all the victims' families knew exactly how to contact him. He says as governor, he will do whatever he can to help them. Todd, back to you.
Ari, thank you very much for your work today. Now, as the investigation progresses, of course, they'll be looking at motivation with the suspect, Nicholas Cruz. They'll also be looking for, as other mass shootings we've seen, including here in Florida, did anyone else know of the plot and the plan that he had, that well-thought-out plan to beat any possible lockdown in the school by doing what he did, pulling the fire alarm near the end of the day to make sure victims were out there where they could not seek shelter. They'll also want to know where he got that gun. That could be a key to this investigation as well. As I said earlier, you will hear the words tragedy, you'll hear unthinkable, condolences, and prayers. None of those words will change what happened to families here today, what happened to the victims here today, nor will it protect the next victims, what has become an all too familiar story, a mass shooting, this time right here in South Florida at a high school. For now, I'm Todd McDermott, live in Parkland, Florida. Let's go back to Felicia and Tiffany in the studio.
Todd, thank you for all your reporting today.
We continue to bring you coverage of that breaking news in Broward County. As Todd just mentioned, 17 people dead in that school shooting in Parkland. This shooting has shaken people to the core all over the country, but especially here in South Florida.
Palm Beach County School Superintendent Dr. Robert Avosa is being very proactive. He tweeted tonight, quote, "I have directed every principal to review their safety protocols and procedures. We are working with local police agencies to have more officers at and around all district schools in the days and weeks ahead."
Meantime, here's a look at the very latest information that we know about the victims from the shooting today. The sheriff says 5 of the victims killed in the attack remain unidentified tonight. Sheriff Scott Israel alluded to the fact that these victims were all very young, perhaps too young to even have a driver's license, so they are having a hard time identifying them. We do know that one of the coaches at the school also died. Among the wounded survivors is the son of a Broward County Sheriff's deputy who was shot in the arm but will survive. And Felicia, one of the things that you and I were just talking about is on Twitter, I've seen a couple of different people tweeting out pictures of students who attended school there that are considered missing tonight, and that really goes to what they're saying about these kids are so young, they don't have ID on them. They likely didn't have their backpacks near them. They ran,
left all their personal property inside the building. Some actually left their backpacks in a pile before moving to a safe grassy area. So, you know, investigators still trying to identify the victims in this case. We just received word from the Broward County Sheriff's Office referring to the suspect, and they're saying that Nicholas Cruz was taken into custody by Coconut Creek police in a nearby neighborhood in Coral Springs. But the reason, we weren't sure why he was taken to the hospital, because he seemed okay when he was
standing.
Yeah, he was standing. When he was initially put into that police car, we're told that Cruz exhibited labored breathing, so he was transported to a local hospital as a precaution for medical clearance.
But we know he didn't spend much time there, because it was probably within 30 minutes that he was then taken out.
Said 30 minutes to an hour, and then he was taken to the Broward County Jail. And just a side note, the next media briefing by the Broward County Sheriff's Office is scheduled for 10:30 tomorrow morning.
Our coverage on this shooting at the high school in Parkland will continue. We'll be right back.
When you start your day with WPBF 25 News Mornings, you get all the live, local, late-breaking news that happened while you were sleeping, traffic to get you to work on time, and weather to plan your day and keep your family safe. Plus, all this week, we'll help you organize your life.
Your morning routine determines your success, and we're going to help you make the most of it. You're going to feel amazing.
Find out how to start your day better organized, less stressed, and get your daily workout in only 5 minutes. All this week on WPBF 25 News Mornings.
Hey, Treasure Coast, I'm coming to see you. It's me, Dr. Oz. The WPBF 25 Health and Wellness Festival is coming to the Port St. Lucie Civic Center, Saturday, March 10th. It's time for you to change your life for the better. We'll have health screenings, insightful seminars, a chance to meet local health and wellness experts. We'll have giveaways and fun for the entire family. And you know what? It's all free. Plus, meet your WPBF 25 news team. Come see me, Dr. Oz, at the WPBF 25 Health and Wellness Festival, Saturday, March 10th.
We are all rooting for Team USA, and during the Pyeongchang Games, WPBF 25 News is here on time, right at 11 o'clock.
The big stories impacting South Florida on time every night.
Always tracking, always monitoring your certified most accurate forecast so you could prepare for tomorrow.
At the end of your busy day, don't wait later for news that matters now.
During the Pyeongchang Games, South Florida's most trusted team is on time every night. Watch WPBF 25 News at 11. When severe weather threatens, South Florida puts its trust in WPBF 25 First Alert Weather.
We are the only local team independently certified by Weather Rate as the area's most accurate.
That means day after day, around the clock.
You will get the most accurate forecast every time. Afternoon showers.
And we warn you first, giving your family time to prepare.
The storm will arrive 7 minutes from now.
WPBF 25 First Alert Weather, certified South Florida's most accurate team.
as tragedy unfolded at a South Florida school.
17 people were killed.
WPBF 25 News alerted you first, bringing you every development.
Students who have barricaded themselves into closets.
You can only imagine the panic.
These pictures take your breath away.
It's all children that were bloodied from head to toe.
The suspect in custody.
We never expected to happen right here.
Whenever, wherever, live, local, late-breaking news happens, WPBF 25 News is there.
I had class with him sophomore year. I got assigned to a group project with him, and he started talking to me. He told me how he got kicked out of 2 private schools. He was held back twice. He had aspirations to join the military. He enjoyed hunting. He always just seemed very quiet and strange.
We continue to learn more information tonight about the suspected gunman in today's mass school shooting in Broward County.
Sonica Dange talked with some of his former classmates tonight and has the latest from Coral Springs.
He had countless magazines, multiple magazines, and at this point, we believe he had 1 AR-15 rifle.
As details emerge about 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz, investigators say the warning signs were there.
We've already began to dissect his websites and the things that social media that he was on, and some of the things that have come to mind are very, very disturbing.
The suspect was a former student at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, expelled for unspecified disciplinary reasons. A former classmate says the suspect would show him pictures of guns on his phone, that he had a sort of obsession with them.
The shooter wore a gas mask and he had smoke grenades. He went and set off the fire alarm so the kids would come pouring out of the classrooms into the hall. And there the carnage began.
As investigators continue to dig deep into the suspect's past, a message from the sheriff.
We continually ask you in the media to continually put out the message. If you see something, say something. If anybody has any indicator that someone's going through a behavioral change, or on their social media that there are disturbing photos, perhaps bombs or firearms, or just, videos or pictures that are just not right, that there's something, please make sure law enforcement knows about it.
That was Sonica Dange reporting. We'll be right back.
Breaking news doesn't happen in the studio. It happens where you live.
We know your community best because we don't stay behind a desk.
We bring you live, local, late-breaking news first, stories impacting you now, and national stories with a Florida connection.
We keep you safe by warning you first, with forecasts certified as the area's most accurate.
Watch South Florida's most trusted team, WPBF 25 News at 5, 6, and 11.
The world is full of amazing people.
I'm from Vegas, everybody. You would be so overwhelmed with how much everybody's coming now.
Bethany has helped send 40 planes with food and supplies to Puerto Rico.
I'm going back with 120,000 pounds of necessities.
There is a lot more good in the world than there is bad.
You make everybody feel better. Turn on Ellen, you will feel better.
We are all rooting for Team USA, and during the Pyeongchang Games, WPBF 25 News is here on time, right at 11 o'clock.
The big stories impacting South Florida on time every night.
Always tracking, always monitoring your certified most accurate forecast so you could prepare for tomorrow.
At the end of your busy day, don't wait later for news that matters now.
During the Pyeongchang Games, South Florida's most trusted team is on time every night. Watch WPBF 25 News at 11. WPBF 25 News at 9 with Aaron Guy, Stephanie Brzezinski, and Sandra Shaw. We focus on lifestyle with the people, organizations, and events that make South Florida so unique. Plus, live, local, late-breaking stories and the most accurate forecast. Watch WPBF 25 News at 9 every day after GMA.
This February, join WPBF 25 as we recognize the contributions of African Americans and celebrate Black History Month.
The WPBF 25 Health and Wellness Festival, Saturday, March 10th. Don't miss it.
Our coverage will continue tomorrow morning with Whitney Burbank in Broward County. Stephanie Brzezinski will take over in Lantana, where Jimmy Johnson has been this evening, as Palm Beach County assists Broward County in some type of investigation at that mobile home park in Lantana.
We still don't know whether or not it is connected to the mass school shooting today in Broward County at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. But we do know we're going to be hearing from the Broward County Sheriff's Office tomorrow morning at 10:30, the media staging area right near the school. And we know the governor is staying in town tonight. He plans to be here in South Florida and talk to more victims and family members tomorrow.
So we will stay on top